I can feel your resistance to these words even now. Every fiber of your being wants to argue with them, because you've been taught, trained, conditioned, convinced that everything of value must be earned through blood, sweat, and relentless suffering. That if you're not constantly doing, pushing, fixing, chasing, proving yourself worthy, then you'll be left with nothing. That rest is laziness. That stillness is weakness. That ease is a fantasy reserved for the lucky few. But tonight I'm going to shatter that lie, and I'm going to show you that the greatest secret of transformation has never been found in effort, strain, or relentless action. It has always lived in the quiet spaces, the invisible realms, the place where thought becomes form and imagination shapes reality. There is a power so profound, yet so overlooked, that most of humanity walks past it every day without ever noticing. It is the power of stillness, the power of resting in the unseen, the power of doing absolutely nothing, yet receiving everything you once chased. This is not laziness. This is not avoidance. This is not giving up. This is the highest form of creative mastery, the state where your inner world becomes the architect of your outer world. And when you learn how to do nothing, you discover how effortlessly life can obey you. For your entire life, you have been conditioned to believe that results come only from struggle, from pushing, from exhausting yourself into collapse, from proving through pain that you deserve what you desire. And so you wake up every morning already exhausted, already defeated, already behind. You look at what you don't have. You feel the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And that gap feels like an ocean you must cross through sheer force of will. So you start swimming, desperately, frantically. You take massive action. You hustle until you can't anymore. You force yourself forward even when every cell in your body is screaming for rest. And the cruel irony, the harder you swim, the further the shore seems to get. Not because you're not trying hard enough, but because the universe does not respond to exhaustion. It responds to clarity. It responds to the inner movement of conviction. It responds to the one who withdraws from the frantic noise of the world and sinks into the certainty of what already exists within. Listen to me carefully. Everything you are chasing already exists, fully formed, completely real, not in some distant future. In consciousness right now, every event, every encounter, every opportunity, every form of abundance, every healing, before it appeared in the world, it was first born in the invisible realm of imagination. And here's what changes everything. If it exists in imagination, it is already real, because imagination is the only reality. The outer world is only an echo, and the echo cannot appear until the sound is created. You are the creator of the sound. Your imagination is that sound. Your assumption is that sound. Your feeling of already being, having, or doing the thing you desire, that is the sound. When the sound is formed within, the echo comes automatically, with no physical strain, no forcing, no struggle. This is why doing nothing is more powerful than doing everything. Now, let me be very clear about what I mean when I say do nothing. Because the mind, your beautiful, logical, trained mind, immediately translates this into laziness, into passivity, into sitting on the couch waiting for miracles. But that is not what I'm saying. Doing nothing is not inactive. It is inwardly active in the most precise and potent way. You become the director of the unseen scene. You no longer try to fix the world. You simply decide what the world must reflect. You no longer fight circumstances. You simply choose the state from which you operate. You no longer chase outcomes. You allow outcomes to chase you. Life becomes reversed. Instead of running toward your desires, you allow your desires to run toward you. The moment you claim them internally, they begin moving toward you externally. Think about what you're actually doing when you chase. You're waking up and immediately asking, what do I need to do today to make this happen? What action will finally get me there? How can I force this result? And in that very question, you are operating from lack. You're assuming you don't have it yet. You're broadcasting the frequency of separation. You are creating from the consciousness of not here, not mine, not now. And consciousness, perfect, lawful, precise consciousness, accepts that as your dominant instruction. So it creates more not yet, more distance, more delay. Not because it's punishing you, but because it's obeying you. But when you do nothing, when you withdraw from that frantic chase, something shifts. You stop feeding the problem. You start feeding the reality you desire. You stop reinforcing lack. You start reinforcing possession. You stop acting as though it's not yours. And you start resting as though it already is. There is a divine ease that emerges when you stop trying to force manifestation and simply rest in the fulfilled state. The fulfilled state is not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe. It is the felt conviction that what you want is already done. When you enter this state, everything changes. You stop looking for signs. You stop asking when it will happen. You stop worrying about the how, the where, the who. These concerns belong to the world of effort. You are operating from the world of being, and being is effortless. Being requires no strain. Being is your natural condition. Imagine for a moment, truly imagine what it would feel like to sit quietly right now, knowing that what you desire is already yours. Not hoping, not wishing, knowing. Imagine the calmness that would fill your chest, the soft, steady breath that would move through your body, the peace that would wash over your mind. That peace is the creative act. That peace is the command. That peace is what shapes the future. Every time you sink into that peace and feel the reality of your desire as though it were already accomplished, you are doing more than any amount of physical action could ever achieve. You are engaging with the root. You are rewriting the script. You are becoming the author instead of the actor who merely reacts. Do you see? Doing nothing means withdrawing your senses from the external world and returning to the inner world, the only place where true creation happens. You no longer give your power away to circumstances. You no longer respond to the world. You instruct it. You no longer beg life to change. You assume the change within and allow life to follow. The moment you understand this, everything becomes simple. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. You are the projector, not the screen. And here's what the entire world gets backwards. They're trying to change the picture by scratching at the screen. They're rearranging circumstances. They're manipulating conditions. They're forcing external changes. But the picture on the screen can only change when you change what's in the projector. When you stop fiddling with the screen and start adjusting the projector, when you change your inner state, your assumption, your consciousness, everything transforms without effort. People chase success, but success is a state. People chase love, but love is a state. People chase money, but money is a state. People chase opportunities, but opportunities are states. Every state is available to you right now, and you can enter any of them by simply assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you assume a state fully, your world rearranges itself to match it. This rearrangement may look like coincidence, luck, timing, synchronicity, or divine orchestration, but it is none of those things. It is law. The most powerful individuals in history were not the ones who worked the hardest. They were the ones who used the invisible laws, whether consciously or unconsciously. They were the ones who felt themselves to be great before the world ever recognized their greatness. They were the ones who lived in the feeling of already being the person they wished to be. They knew how to enter the silence, how to retreat into imagination, how to assume the end so completely that the end had no choice but to take physical form. And here's what makes this so profound. Doing nothing does not mean sitting passively with an empty mind. It means entering the deep inner stillness in which imagination becomes the only reality. It means living from the end so completely that the world bends to your inner certainty. It means refusing to react to appearances, because appearances are only old reflections that have not yet caught up to your new state. It means resting in the truth that what you desire is already yours, even before your senses confirm it. This resting, this inner relaxation, is the creative power. The world will call this madness, delusion, fantasy. That is because the world believes that only physical effort produces results. But you have seen people who work tirelessly and still fail. You have seen people who do everything right and still struggle. And you have also seen people who seem to glide through life, attracting opportunities effortlessly, receiving blessings they didn't chase, rising without strain. How? Not through effort, but through alignment. not through labor, but through state of consciousness. They have learned the secret of doing nothing externally while doing everything internally. Your inner world is the cause, your outer world is the effect. The majority live backwards, trying to change the effect rather than the cause. They move things around on the surface while ignoring the depths. But when you work with the depths, the surface rearranges itself automatically. When you stop trying to change the world through force and begin changing your inner assumptions, the world must conform. It has no choice. It is law. When you desire something, you have two choices. You can chase it, or you can become it. Chasing is exhausting. Becoming is effortless. Chasing produces anxiety. Becoming produces certainty. Chasing forces life. Becoming attracts life. When you become internally what you desire externally, the world mirrors you with exact precision. Doing nothing is the act of becoming, quietly, inwardly, decisively. You must learn to sit in the silence and ask yourself, if this desire were already mine, how would I feel right now? What would my inner dialogue sound like? How would my body relax? How would my breath move? What would my world look like? How would I perceive myself? The moment you embody these answers, even for a few seconds, you ignite the creative process. Those few seconds of conviction contain more power than hours of frantic effort. The inner world does not require time. The moment you assume a state, you become it. Time is only needed for the outer world to catch up. But the transition is already complete within you. This is why doing nothing is so powerful, because it bypasses the physical realm and operates directly in the realm of cause. When you change the cause, the effect must change. It is inevitable. People often ask, if I stop acting, won't nothing happen? And the answer is simple. When you rest in the fulfilled state, actions will arise naturally. Actions that are aligned, minimal, and effortless. You will be moved from within. You will find yourself doing exactly what is needed, without effort, without doubt, without confusion. You will think you are taking small steps, but those steps will lead to extraordinary outcomes. Why? Because they are taken from a state of already having, not from a state of lack. The power of doing nothing is the power of trusting the unseen more than the seen. It is the power of believing the inner world more than the outer world. It is the power of resting in your assumption until it crystallizes into fact. You are not here to struggle your way into abundance, health, love, success. You are here to assume the state and allow the world to deliver its reflection. The world does not create you. Your state creates the world you experience. Everything you have ever manifested, good or bad, came effortlessly when you assumed it to be true. Think of the times you knew something would go wrong, and it did. Think of the times you felt certain something wonderful would happen, and it appeared with ease. The creative power never changes. Only your direction of it changes. When you direct it consciously, you receive consciously. When you direct it unconsciously, you receive unconsciously. But either way, you are always receiving. You are always manifesting. You cannot stop creating. You can only stop creating consciously. The power of doing nothing brings you back into conscious creation. It brings you into awareness of your inner authority. It allows you to step out of the noise and return to the throne of your own imagination. It reminds you that you do not need to fight for what is already yours. If you desire it, it means it already exists for you. Your only task is to align with it internally. Everything else unfolds naturally. So sit quietly, breathe softly, allow the noise of the world to fade. Allow the opinions of others to fall away. Allow your doubts to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Enter the silence within, and from that silence choose your state. Claim it. Feel it. Become it. Do not strain. Do not force. Do not try. Simply be. The moment you feel the reality of your desire as natural, you have done enough. You have planted the seed. Now let the seed grow without digging it up to check its progress. Life will orchestrate itself in miraculous ways. People you have never met will move on your behalf. Circumstances you could never predict will align. Doors you didn't know existed will open. Opportunities will arrive uninvited. Solutions will appear without effort. This is the magic of doing nothing. This is the power of resting in the end. This is the secret that transforms your life from the inside out. When you understand this deeply, you will never chase again. You will never force again. You will never struggle again. You will simply choose the state, dwell in it, and allow the world to conform. And it will. It always does. Because you are the operant power. You are the dreamer of the dream. You are the cause behind every effect. Doing nothing is the most powerful something you will ever do. It is the purest form of creation. It is the gateway to receiving everything. When you master it, you will discover that life has always been ready to give you everything. You just needed to become still enough to receive it. Stop measuring time. Stop demanding evidence. Stop checking for signs every hour. Return to the inner world. Choose the state. Feel it as natural. And then rest. Because the moment it feels natural within you, the work is done. The seed has been planted. And what is planted in consciousness must, in its own appointed way, appear. The world is a mirror. When you smile, it smiles. When you assume abundance, it brings abundance. When you assume love, it brings love. When you assume success, it brings success. There is no exception. The mirror has no power to initiate. It only reflects. When you do nothing externally and assume everything internally, the mirror reflects your chosen state with mathematical precision. So stop fighting, stop chasing, stop exhausting yourself. Do nothing and receive everything.